I'm Sam.
Hi, I'm Kenny.
And we are the Lotus in Life. Take it away, Kenny.
Well, today we'll be doing a study course on dependent origination. So what that means is the interconnectedness of all things. So, Sam, why don't you tell us what topics we'll be talking about today and where it's from?
All right, Kenny, I'll do just that. So this is from Indigo 2006, and it's a four-part series, and today we'll be discussing the first two sessions. The first one being the oneness of self and environment, a life of gratitude. The second one being oneness of good and evil, the heart of compassion. So I'll now ask Kenny to begin.
Okay, so this session focuses on the relationship between ourself and the environment from the Buddhist perspective. That is only through change within one's own heart that we can affect a change in our environment. The aim is to develop an appreciation for everyone in the environment, including those we like and dislike, all of whom contribute to our happiness and our development as human beings. In turn, there is no such thing as being happy in isolation. For this reason, Buddhism aims for peace and happiness of all society. The method to achieve peace and society as a whole is through the transformation of people's hearts, which means establishing the spirit of human dignity and deep respect for all humanity as a foundational principle of how society moves forward. When people's hearts are transformed, then the land will be peaceful. If we are aspiring to a state of Buddhahood, we find ourselves grateful for all those around us who, because of their suffering, enable us to polish our lives. This process is a transformation of our own heart and is expressed in our compassionate acts towards others. The Buddhist principle of oneness of self and environment, Esho Funi, means that life, Sho, and its environment, are inseparable. Funi. Funi means two but not two. This means that although we perceive things around us as separate from us, there is a dimension of our lives that is one with the universe. At the most fundamental level of life itself, there is no separation between ourselves and the environment. Buddhism teaches that life manifests itself in both a living subject and an objective environment. Nichiren wrote, "Life at each moment encompasses both self and the environment of all sentient beings in every condition of life, as well as in insentient beings, plants, sky, and earth, down to the most minute particles of dust." Life means a subjective self that experiences the effects of past actions and is capable of creating new causes for the future. The environment is the objective realm where the karmic effects of life take shape. So I don't know if you guys remember from our Ichinen Sanzen series about the different worlds, about the self and the environment, but it's coming back to that topic as well.
Yeah, it's incredible how a lot of the concepts, they're very, very deep, but they overlap. Which is a good thing.
Interlinked, you might say.
Interlinked, very good.
So according to Buddhism, everything around us, including work and family relationships, is a reflection of our inner lives. Everything is perceived through the self and alters according to the individual's inner life state. Thus, if we change ourselves, our circumstances will inevitably change too. This is a liberating concept, as it means there is no need to seek enlightenment outside of ourselves or in a particular place. Wherever we are, in whatever circumstances, we can bring forth our innate Buddhahood, thus transforming our experiences of our environment into Buddha's land, the joy-filled place where we can create value for ourselves and for others. As Nichiren wrote, "If the minds of the people are impure, their land is also impure. But if their minds are pure, so is their land. There are not two lands, pure and impure in themselves. The difference lies solely in the good and evil of our minds." The evil means self-centered and short-sighted actions based on greed, arrogance, fear, and aggression. The single most positive action that we can make for ourselves in society is to transform our own lives, and so that they are no longer dominated by these negative tendencies. When we manifest wisdom, generosity, and integrity, we naturally find ourselves making more valuable choices and that our surroundings are nurturing and supportive. Often we cannot foresee the long-term results of our actions, and it's hard to believe that one individual's choices can really affect the world around them. But Buddhism teaches that through oneness of self and environment, everything is interconnected.
There's that word again, interconnected.
It is.
Thanks, Kenny. So, Risho Unkoku, securing peace for the people. And if you might remember a while back, we talked about Risho Unkoku Ron, which is the Gosho, one of the Goshos from Nichiren Daishonin. So Buddhism takes a fundamentally positive view of human life. Its core message is that every individual has infinite dignity and potential. If we truly understand that human life is the most precious of all treasures, we will value our own lives and those of others. From this perspective, it is clear that war, as the ultimate abuse and cruelty to human beings, is to be absolutely and totally rejected, and peace should be our constant goal. And as you know, President Ikeda does a peace proposal every year towards this end. And so clear that war is around. If society embraced this view of life's value, preventing violence and addressing all forms of suffering would become the highest priorities of humankind, as opposed to the accumulation of material wealth and power. Those who nurture and care for life, like parents and nurses and doctors and teachers, would be treated with the greatest of respect. Wouldn't that be an ideal world?
It should be, yeah.
Yeah. So Buddhism stresses that only an inner transformation of our lives from the deepest level can make our compassion stronger than our egotistical desire to win over or use others. It offers us teachings and tools which enable us to effect this kind of core transformation. Nichiren's most important treatise, entitled On Establishing the Correct Teaching for the Peace of the Land, that was the Gosho I was talking about before, describes the turmoil he saw around him. And he goes on to say over half the population has already been carried off by death. And there is hardly a single person who does not grieve. His prime motivation was a wrenching sense of empathy for the people's plight. He had taken a vow to lead himself and others to happiness, and this meant struggling to awaken and empower people to challenge their own destiny. I cannot keep silent on this matter. He was always so passionate, Daishonin, whatever he spoke about, and incredibly poetic.
Yeah.
I cannot suppress my fears. Like, it's so spot on. In terms of concrete action, Nichiren urged the political leaders of the day to cease official patronage of favoured sects and for open public debates on the merits of the different schools of Buddhism. On a personal level, he called on the leaders to reform the tenets that you hold in your heart. In today's terms, this means transforming ourselves and our most deeply held beliefs about the nature of life. And I think that kind of hooks into human revolution.
Oh, it definitely does. All that inner transformation that's needed to change. Yeah, definitely.
Yep. So the function of any religion or philosophy should be to give people the courage and hope needed to transform their sufferings. Unless empowerment for ourselves and others is our goal, we will be unable to resist and overcome the negative influences within our own lives and their environment. To create an age of peace, one in which life is given supreme value, it is vital for us to have a philosophy that reveals the wonder, dignity, and infinite potential of life. When we base our actions on this belief and take out of compassion for others, the result is a pure joy, which in turn motivates us to further action. Empowering ourselves from within, our sphere of compassion becomes wider and wider, encompassing not only ourselves, our own families and nations, but the whole of humanity. By the way, this piece is all written by Daisaku Ikeda, with the quotes from Nichiren Daishonin. And that brings us to the end of Session 1. So now Session 2, oneness of good and evil, the heart of compassion. And Eddie will now carry on. Thank you.
Yeah. So all phenomena are expressions of the mystic law, including fundamental delusion, evil, and enlightenment, good. Because they are inseparable from the ultimate reality, they are inseparable from each other. Therefore, all of us have the potential for doing supreme good and supreme evil. A Buddha aims to recognize the potentiality for good and evil both within his or her life and the lives of others, and determines to transform the destructive tendency into a creative one. From the perspective of the Buddha, our day-to-day encounters with other fellow human beings are truly significant. In each encounter, there exists a potential for creating value and the potential for creating conflicts. When people rub us the wrong way, and our environment sometimes plunges us into feelings of anger, hatred, or jealousy, it might often be easier to dwell on these feelings and see others as evil or wrong. On a societal scale, in the age that we live in, where life is sometimes only seen as a means to an end, the general tendency could sometimes be that one of, if you are not with us, you are against us. This statement does not acknowledge the potential for good and evil in all of us, and thus does not recognize that evil can be occurring simultaneously in our own lives and actions. The Lotus Sutra predicts enlightenment for all people, including the ones we just cannot seem to get along with. Our action, based on the spirit of these words, is Buddhist compassion. What prevents us from a complete appreciation of the Buddha nature inherent in all people is our fundamental darkness, or ignorance. Fundamental darkness is the ignorance that the essence of our lives, the others, and the universe are one and the same. It is this darkness that shrouds our hearts and minds and seeks to turn everyone and everything into a means. If we wish to create a meaningful life of value, Nichiren Daishonin encourages us to polish our lives daily and reveal our highest potential through the practice of Daimoku. Daily, we are encouraged to win in our spiritual struggle to break through our own negative and destructive forces. When we are able to do this, naturally, we will be able to appreciate life's highest potential in others. Buddhism teaches that good and evil exist in the context of relationships, and encourages us to actively seek to create good relations. It is therefore always our responsibility to transform any relationship into a good one, no matter how negatively we might initially perceive others' actions.
Yeah, good point.
Up to you, Sam. Why don't you tell us the rest?
Okay. Right. So this is now excerpts from Opening of the Eyes, which is still part of the study material of Oneness of Good and Evil, the Heart of Compassion. So the two key teachings, the enlightenment of evil people and the enlightenment of women. The two admonitions of the Devadatta chapter refer to the two teachings of the enlightenment of evil people, who are represented by Devadatta, and the enlightenment of women, who are represented by the Dragon King's daughter. These are called admonitions because Shakyamuni admonishes the assembled bodhisattvas to realize the widespread propagation of the Lotus Sutra in the latter day, so that all people may attain Buddhahood. So prior to Shakyamuni coming along, it was said through the sutras that evil people and women, which is a really horrible thing to say, couldn't attain enlightenment. All I can say to that is thank goodness for the women's liberation movement.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. I'm really glad that you guys all made incredible headway and we're now equal. So it is important that we actively engage in the challenge of guiding those around us to happiness. Without this struggle, any ambition of achieving happiness for all humanity is meaningless. The teachings of the Lotus Sutra and the Buddhism of Nichiren Daishonin, with their life-affirming quality, represent a philosophy of revitalization that views all things as having infinite value and potential. They also constitute a philosophy of hope that can inspire fresh optimism and zest for life in the hearts of those suffering intensely. The philosophy of hope is the core of a genuinely humanistic religion, for it teaches the great path that enables us to feel deep appreciation for being alive in each moment, as well as to repay our gratitude to our parents who raised us and to all those in our environment to whom we are indebted. It also makes it possible for all humankind to lead happy and fulfilling lives. So the enlightenment of evil people and women expounded in the Devadatta chapter is therefore a subject very closely tied to the true purpose of religion. And then it goes on to say, what the enlightenment of Devadatta and the Dragon Girl shows in the beneficial power of the mystic law to change poison into medicine and attain Buddhahood in one's present form. It is only through this beneficial power that all people in the defiled age of the latter day can achieve genuine happiness. This is because the mystic law is the highly effective medicine that can make this a reality on the most fundamental level, turning poison into medicine. And it reminds me of a great saying from Nichiren Daishonin, which is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo is like the roar of a lion. So what sickness, therefore, can possibly be an obstacle? It ties in, doesn't it?
Yeah, so positive too.
Yeah. So then it goes on to say, attaining supreme enlightenment in one's present form means that one's life, just as it is an entity of the mystic law, while not altering it and not altering one's status as an ordinary person, means that becoming a Buddha does not require changing into something or someone else. That's a really great thing, isn't it? Also, the latter day is a time when people's lives and society are racked unceasingly by negative cause and effects. The above-cited passage from the Daishonin's writings include the phrase, without casting aside one's karmic impediments. If one were unable to attain Buddhahood without discarding such hindrances, then it would remain an unreachable goal for people of the latter day of the law. The principle of changing poison into medicine thus gives people the power to bring forth innate hope and overcome feelings of despair and helplessness in this evil age with its endless cycle of negative causation. In the writing on hearing the Buddha vehicle for the first time, the Daishonin writes here that poison refers to the three paths of earthly desires, karma, suffering, while medicine indicates the three virtues of the Dharma, body, wisdom, and emancipation. Changing poison into medicine, he explains, is the principle whereby people living amid the negative causality of the three paths can manifest the positive benefit of the three virtues in their own lives through the power of the mystic law. Earthly desires include such things as the three poisons of greed, anger, and foolishness. Karma arises from earthly desires. It indicates three categories of action, mental, verbal, and physical, that lead to suffering. Suffering is the result of earthly desires and karma. It takes the form of physical and spiritual retribution. In contrast to the three paths, the three virtues of Dharma, body, wisdom, and emancipation are great benefits that manifest in the life of a Buddha. They indicate ultimate truth, pure wisdom, and a life state of infinite freedom. The three paths and the three virtues couldn't be more different. However, through the marvelous power of the mystic law, we can dramatically transform the three paths into the three virtues. This is the principle of changing poison into medicine. That seems to be the fundamental.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, the fundamental way of changing poison into medicine. So the key to changing poison into medicine is to believe in the Lotus Sutra, which elucidates the mystic nature of life, whereby the three paths are instantly transformed into the three virtues. It is faith in the mystic law that unlocks this wondrous and unfathomable power inherent in our lives. Our daily practice of the mystic law is one of changing poison into medicine. As long as we are human beings, we are bound at times to meet with accidents or misfortune or encounter business setbacks. However, we can change any situation from poison into medicine as long as we do not doubt the Gohonzon and continue to devote ourselves to this practice with the mystic law and the Gohonzon as our basis. It's so straightforward, isn't it? It's amazing. The power of the mystic law, with its ability to change poison into medicines, can not only cure your illness, but enable you to experience even greater good health than before when you finally recover. The principle of changing poison into medicine serves as a wellspring of hope, making it possible for people to live with optimism in a troubled age. So that brings us to the end of this particular session. I do have a question for you, Kelly. We've been talking a lot here about turning poison into medicine. Can you cite an example from your Buddhist practice, from your life, where you have actually turned poison into medicine?
Yeah, well, I think it's hard to say particularly one. I feel like this practice has made me change my outlook, where when I think of all the challenges, like I've said to Sam before as well, that I'm so tired of having all these challenges in my life. And it's only now that I'm seeing that all these challenges, all this hardship, this suffering, these struggles, this poison has become like my growth, my compassion, my wisdom. And that's how it changed into medicine. That like now when I look at challenges, I think it's funny that it's just going to keep coming on, but I'm just going to keep growing. So it's just amazing that anything bad that happens, something good comes out of it. So anything, like once one thing passes, another thing comes, and you just continue to grow and just grow from the medicine. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
What about you?
Yeah, fantastic. That was a really, really good example, Kenny. Well, I'm going to relate something here that we've all been experiencing, not just, well, really for the last 18 months, and it's been the lockdown. When the lockdowns, well, for me, because I had to stop work, and I'll just talk about this one because for me there's been two lockdowns. I'm sure it's pretty much the same for all of you, from the end of March till the end of June last year, and the end of June until the 11th of October this year. Well, actually, my lockdown ends on the
25th?
25th, thank you.
Yeah.
25th. That's age, Kelly. Thank you, youth.
It's okay.
So, when lockdown first happened, I was scared. I was frightened that because I'm married, and the first thing I was fundamentally scared about was any money going to be coming in. I mean, my business was completely cut off. I couldn't earn any money. So that was the first poison, like material problems. Because I love to do my work, I love going out and selling every day. All of a sudden, it's like being on a treadmill and stopping. So I had to do something, and it was a real journey. This particular one, this last lockdown for me was an incredible journey, because I decided that I wanted to chant more, and I did. I increased my chanting from when I was working from half an hour, occasionally an hour a day, to 2 hours every day.
That's crazy.
And reading, like I was 12, 18 months behind in the Indigo magazines, I'm ashamed to say publicly. But I'm now I'm now up to January of this year, so I've read a lot of Indigo magazines. I've read from May to January so far, all the magazines. And I've been studying, and it's given me a chance to really connect with my dear mum, who's now 90 years of age, and try and encourage her and get it, if she got miserable, try and encourage her through all this lockdown, and I've kept healthy. I've turned the poison into health by walking and swimming every day, and that's been fantastic too. So this lockdown has actually helped me change the poison of fear into the medicine of hope and action, I have to say.
Wow.
So we both have turned poison into medicine, and I hope all of you out there are also, through the incredible benefit and power of this practice, are turning poison into medicine.
No, I agree.
Anything else, Kenny?
Well, I just think, I just wanted to say one last thing about like the human revolution, as that, like, it's true that we are connected to our environment, and as we change, it responds to us changing. So through this changing poison into medicine, like sometimes it seems like just good things are coming, but it's us being responsible for that change, and the world, the environment responding to us. And I just think that's pretty amazing.
Yep, you just hit Esho Funi on the head. Oneness of self and environment. Well done.
Exactly.
So next session, we'll carry on with dependent origination with 2 more sessions. So really looking forward to talking about that and reconnecting with you guys. I hope you're enjoying these videos. So so that's it.
Yeah.
That's it for now. So I'm Sam.
I'm Ketty.
And we are the Lotus in Life. See ya.
Bye.